In this Zoom, we have multiple wonderful panelists. I will note that unfortunately Rick Giudotti could not make it today, but we are more than happy to have Liz from Positive Exposure here instead. Now I'm going to one by one let the panelists very quickly introduce themselves with a visual description and a teensy bit about who they are. And I'm going to start that off with Anna-Maie.
Hey everyone, thanks for coming. My name is Anna-Maie. I'm here with Donna. For a visual description, I am a white woman with long strawberry blonde hair, orange beaded earrings, pink lipstick, blue eyes, and I'm here with Donna. And I'm the creative director of Intertwine Arts, and I'll be doing a little segment about Intertwine Arts and what we do. Donna, do you want me to hand over to Donna next, so she's here?
Yes, please.
Donna, you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Donna. I'm African American. I have gray hair and I don't know what color shirt I have on. Yeah, and I'm glad to be here.
Donna is one of the artists who works with us at Visions.
And she'll be exhibiting when we have our exhibition in January, which is exciting.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to pass it off to Amanda.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today for this conversation. My name is Amanda Cachia. My pronouns are she, her. I am a short-statured white woman with brown curly hair, and I have brown eyes. And today I'm wearing my thick black framed glasses, and I have gold hoops and a white shirt and a few necklaces on and red lipstick. I'm sitting here in my home office in San Diego, California. And behind me are, books and like a little bird painting and different objects like baskets and sculptures and things like that. And thanks for joining.
All right, so next is Liz.
Hi, I'm Liz Matejka-Grossman, and I am Director of Education and Programming at Positive Exposure. I am a middle-aged white woman. I have blonde hair. I don't think I'm wearing any makeup, and I have on a green sort of design, green with a patterned shirt, and blue and green, pink, different colored earrings that are dangling. Yeah, I'm very happy to be here.
All right, amazing. So back to me, Danalia. So today we are here to talk about an upcoming exhibition that will take place from January 23rd to March 22nd. This exhibit will combine performance, installation, and live social sculpture. Weaving In, Weaving Out will be hosted within the Positive Exposure Gallery with site-specific fiber work by contemporary disabled artists from Intertwine Arts. The title of the exhibition alludes to the spatial nature of the exhibition, where individuals come and go within the space or drop in and out over a multi-month period. The gallery will become a live social sculpture or a socially engaged art practice. To explore this whole exhibition concept and the making of, we are going to have each panelist talk for roughly 10 minutes about their part in its formation, and then we will all join together to talk and end with a Q&A. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it on to Anna-Maie to get it started.
Okay, great. Let me share my screen. All right, here's my presentation slideshow. Okay, everyone can hear me okay? Yes. Good. So as I said, my name is Anna-Maie. I'm the creative director of Intertwine Arts. Intertwine Arts is a nonprofit, and our mission is to inspire creativity, joy, and self-confidence through free-form weaving for people of all ages with a disability or chronic illness. And we also venture into other types of fiber art, which I will go through now. So the goals of Intertwine Arts is to create community, is to inspire people, and it's to raise visibility of artists with disabilities and how amazing their work is. We really just want to champion our artists, and we're here as a facilitator to do whatever we can do, whether it's providing materials, providing teaching artists, providing exhibition walls for them to put their work up on, whatever it is that the artists need to have a great experience with art making and fiber art making. Yes, so in general, everybody in their lifetime will experience disability at some point in their life. So whether it's a temporary disability, like a broken wrist or something like that, whether it's a lifelong disability or a chronic illness, and not to mention people who do crafting and fiber arts often experience disabilities that have been brought on through the repetitive actions. So this means that there is a wide range of people who could use our support and help with their fiber art making process, and we're here to be a resource for those people. One of the ways we're a resource is with the adaptive tools that we use. So here are some images of some Saori looms. A Saori loom is a loom from Japan, and it is a great loom for people with disabilities because it has all kinds of add-on adaptions that you can add to the loom. So for example, there is a bar. You can see it here in the middle photo. There is a photo of a loom, and it is being used by a person. Their hand is pulling the bar forward to press down the weft, and they're holding on to a silver bar that is an add-on to the loom, and that is to help with mobility issues. So you don't have to reach so far. It's much easier to grip. The same image the loom has these wooden extensions that kind of stick out of the side of the reed, and that has a little orange rubber loop on the end that catches the shuttle as it goes across. So the idea is that you can throw the shuttle across and it's going to catch. You don't have to hold it in your hand. You can just slide it across the bar and it will. And so it's much easier in that way for people with mobility issues. And then on the image on the right, there is a woman weaving, and she is sitting in a wheelchair. And the loom also has adaptations. They're called hand switches, and they stick onto the top of the reed, and they catch the heddles and make it so that you can alternate heddles using just your hands. You don't need to use your feet at all. So this is a great brand of looms for all kinds of people with disabilities because they have all these different adaptation tools that suit different people's needs. Also, Dana, I didn't set a timer, so someone tell me if I'm going over my time.
I'll tell you.
Okay, thank you. So here are some other examples of different looms that we use. On the left is an image of a brightly colored tapestry. It has colors and textures running through in a kind of swirl pattern, and that is done on a cardboard loom. So cardboard looms is something that we use a lot. They're really affordable, they're really easy to set up, and accessible for people to use in our programs and at home. In the middle is an image of a cricket loom. A cricket loom is a tabletop loom. So it's a rigid heddle style of loom. So the reed, it acts as a reed and a heddle at the same time, which means that you need no pedals. And these are a great, also slightly more affordable option for a loom, and we use these a lot in the classes because they're super easy to set up and really nice to use. And then we are big believers in recycling, using sustainable materials, using accessible materials. So we often will use paper plates and you know, jewelry boxes, anything you can find around the house that you can turn into a loom, because we want weaving to be accessible to people, not just in our class. We would like it if they can go home and still continue. If they enjoy it, they can still continue and do it in their free time because it's fun. So that being said, we use a lot of informal DIY tools also. So we often use plastic straws that we put under the loom, under the warp, between the loom and the warp, which raises the warp and makes it easier to get your hand underneath. We use plastic needles, we use paper clips, bobby pins, makeshift shuttles. And on the right is an image of a person from AHRC. They were doing a lot of circle weaving on a embroidery hoop. And they were having a hard time with it, and we came up with this concoction where we took a clamp from a cricket loom and we clamped it to the table, and we clamped the embroidery hoop to the table standing upright, so that instead of it being flat on the table, it was standing upright, and the person weaving found it so much easier to kind of weave in the mid-air rather than you know, flat on the table like they were beforehand. So this is just some of the ways that we have over the years learned to help the artists to create the artwork in the best that they can with the tools that we provide for them. So our weaving workshops, there's a ton of ways that the workshops are beneficial for the people that we work with. They are, anyone who's done weaving, I'm sure a lot of you in the Zoom have done weaving because it's New York Textile Month, or if not, that's okay. But if you've done weaving before, or any kind of fiber art before, you know that it is really therapeutic and really calming, and it's enjoyable because you are distracted with your hands and you're engaged in something, but your mind is free to wander and to process and to explore and to have ideas. So in that way, it's really great for people. Because we're providing tools to make weaving more accessible, that is helping people who are trying it for the first time to really feel confident in what they're doing and to feel like, I can do this, actually. It looks really hard, but you've helped me and I can do this, and I've made something great, and now it's going to be in an exhibition or on or online store, or, you know, there's so many opportunities and ways that really helps people to build their confidence in their art making. And what does that say? Different pieces. So yeah, we work with all kinds of people with all kinds of disabilities. So we're used to working in different paces and kind of meeting everyone's bespoke needs, because access is so bespoke that like everyone has a different way that they work, and we adjust to every single person. And yeah, and so Intertwine Arts, we don't just focus on people who have disabilities, we're also open for people who are in the class, like the staff members and the family, the parents. You know, if there's a child in hospital and they're weaving with us, their parent is invited to come and join in. And that way it creates a really nice community atmosphere. And also those people are doing such good work. They are caring and they are so selfless in a lot of ways most of the time. So it's really nice to be able to give back to them also. We offer sensory support for people. We work with a lot of people who are neurodivergent, and weaving is obviously very sensory. It's tactile, it's enjoyable, and we are very aware of this, especially when planning for exhibitions. We offer the artists opportunities to visit the gallery at quieter times, and yeah, so we're really conscious of that, and we really try to support people in a sensory way too. oh, sorry, I need to take a breath. Woo. Been talking. So disability visibility. Obviously, it is really important for us to showcase our artists. We believe in them so much, and we know the incredible work they make, and we just want to do whatever we can to support them in that. So we often host exhibitions, we have pop-up shops, we have our online store, we have different events. So we just really try to get our artists' artwork out there. And that can be really fulfilling for our artists who maybe have not had that opportunity before, have not been invited to be in an exhibition before. So that's really like a fun moment for us when we can show their work and sell their work. I have so many artists that I work with who are so excited about selling their work because they are not able to work, and they have you know, they're just really excited to have the independence to like be able to make their own money for once. Like they don't often get that opportunity. So yeah, so that's really great when that can happen. Yeah, so more accessibility means more creativity. And this slide is a bunch of photos of some of the works that our artists have made. We have a purse in the middle with stripes of color and a gold brooch on the front. We have a heart-shaped weaving with all different colors and textures and ribbon. We have an image of Taylor at the bottom. She's holding a pillow that she made with the fabric she wove. In the left, there's a stuffed dog that was made with the woven fabric. We've been making a lot of stuffed animals recently, especially at Visions. Donna is agreeing with me.
Yes.
In the top left, there's a beautiful tapestry of a cat made by Susan at Greenwich House, which is a senior centre that we've worked with. And then there is a video in the corner, but I don't think it's going to play. It's a video of someone from AHRC holding a mermaid that they made. There's a kind of peplum top full of stripes and textures that was made from program fabric. There's a what do you call that? Like a beanie hat with stripes of purple and white. And on the far right is a long, thin tapestry that was made by combining lots and lots of circle weavings from all different people from across the Heart Share program. So these are just some of the many examples of artworks that people make and the different directions that they go in. And yeah, ranging from clothes, from home goods from tapestries. So yeah, we have a wide range. Everyone has their own style and unique take on what they would like to do with their weaving. So that's a really great part of the program. Next. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you everyone for listening. Here on this slide, there is a QR code that will take you to our website. So if you want to learn more about us, more details about what we do, please feel free to go over to our website. We're having an event on October 9th. The information is on the website. If you go to the Woven Together tab, please come. If you're in New York, it's going to be in Chelsea. It's a great event. We have a huge exhibition of all the artwork from across our programs. And we have a fashion show and we have music. I think Braulio might be doing some music. So he's one of our artists from Visions. Food. So yeah, if you're asked, you need to come. It's a really fun evening. So please come. Yeah. I think that's me. Is that good, Donna? Do we have time for questions, or are we doing that later?
We're going to do questions later.
Okay,
but I think I'll just add on to what you were saying, that all of this work that we've been doing, we really wanted to do a major exhibition because we haven't done a major exhibition. We've done very small ones, but no big ones yet. And so all this work that Anna-Maie is highlighting sort of leads into Amanda's work as a curator, which we're now going to jump into.
Great. Hi, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, but I thought I would also tell you that we've been joined by my puppy, Clementine, who's a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel who is very much a lap dog. So oftentimes she's on me when I'm giving presentations. So thank you for bearing with me while she's tries to passionately lick me constantly. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, perfect.
Yes.
All right, so I don't have a long PowerPoint. It's really just this image, which is like a mock-up or a diagram that Anna-Maie very kindly did for us. And it's really just kind of to showcase how we envision the exhibition looking in the positive exposure space. So I can kind of describe it. So it's basically a circular arrangement of the looms, and that, this is where people will be sitting and positioned. There's like a table in the background with a sculpture on it, and then on the surrounding walls and pillars, there are fiber pieces that are hung up. We may even have some coming from the ceiling, actually, like strung up from the ceiling. I know Anna-Maie expressed a big interest in that, which sounds great to me as well. So I know we've already kind of talked about the structure of the show a little bit. By the way, I should also add that I'm the guest curator of the exhibition, and that Intertwine had expressed interest. They had approached me last year. I'm an independent curator, but I'm also a professor. I teach museum studies and curatorial studies and art history, and my expertise is in disability art. And I've curated about 20 exhibitions since 2010 that are dedicated to the work of disability art. So I've been really kind of an activist and somebody who's very much committed to the work of disability because I identify as a disabled person. I'm a person of short stature, and I was very much like aware from an early age that there was a real significant gap in the representation of disability in the museum. And that was, clearly really frustrating for me. And so when I started working on my PhD in San Diego, I decided that I wanted to commit my curatorial career and my career as an art historian to this work. So having said that, Intertwine approached me, and I had never actually fully curated an exhibition with fiber art and textile work. And so I was really attracted and excited by this opportunity. And then, we ended up having this really fantastic moment with Positive Exposure Gallery in New York, because Positive Exposure under Rick Giardotti's leadership have been completely dedicated to representing work by disabled people. And so it was just this really fantastic opportunity to collaborate with them. And of course, we'll hear from Liz after me. But I just wanted to say how grateful I am to Positive Exposure and to Rick and Liz and their team for working with us on this project. So everything about Intertwine I really admire, but I really wanted to. I had undertaken some site visits earlier in the year, this year, and gone to Visions and gone to some of the different spaces and started to meet some of the folks who make work, and really felt excited just being there and engaging. And so that's kind of what led me to the concept. Like I really felt like Donna has kind of already mentioned some of the verbiage that I was using, but really wanting to have this kind of live social sculpture component where other people could come in and engage with the artists, but also engage with the fiber and with the looms, and be in the space making art together, because a lot of what is emphasized in disability art community is collaboration and community. And caring for one another. And so I really wanted to activate that notion in the space. And so I decided to call it Weaving In, Weaving Out, because it's like literally like, oh, we can drop in and out of the show. We can make work out, like as an audience member, you can engage in making work, or you can just enjoy the beauty of the work and touch it as well. There's this interactive element that's really important to disability art activism. Excuse me. Now I'm like sneezing. Excuse me. Um, and so, but I have a little bit of text here that I've written down that I'd like to read out to and share with all of you to kind of elaborate on that notion of weaving in, weaving out. So obviously it's like, you know, alluding to the spatial nature of literally dropping in and out of the space and engaging with people over that, you know, 2-month duration of the show. But also, like, for me, you know, I like this idea of how within this structure of weaving in, weaving out knowledge can be exchanged across borders, disciplines, and lived experiences to rethink institutional possibilities. Of course, weaving in, weaving out also refers to the materiality of weaving itself, and how that methodology and the technical skill of weaving involves threading back and forth, in and out, the weft and the warp, etc., and how it intersects at angles to create intricate patterns and designs. But for me, it's also about the literal architecture of the gallery, right? So how bodies choose to spend time in the gallery and partake in its activities, and how we're all woven together in this specific place and time as a type of microcosm for the social circles that we find ourselves in on a daily basis, but also in our lifetimes. And then because I'm an art historian, of course, I have to bring in philosophy. And so I did a little bit of research and thinking about weaving in, weaving out as a strategy for surviving the current global turmoil that we find ourselves in. I don't know about all of you, but I find it really hard to, you know, digest what's happening on a daily basis around the world. So I found this kind of term from a man named John Holloway, who's a Marxist sociologist, and his work centers on radical anti-capitalist theory. And he says that the we in weaving refers to us, the people, who can actively participate in the struggle that we find ourselves in against capitalism. And he suggests that rather than passively observing its effects, we can use the metaphor of weaving to represent the collaborative, to represent the continuous, to represent the creative work of building a different world beyond capitalism, one warp or weft at a time. So weaving is a concrete labor of resistance that suggests a more patient and persistent approach to decentralizing power to build an alternative social fabric, a literal fabric. So within what Holloway calls the cracks, I liken to the intersections of fabric at the loom, we find spaces to assert a different kind of doing that is not governed by the logic of capitalist value and profit. And instead, we use these spaces to find room for disability community, social gathering, and care. And so for those of you who are interested in Holloway's work, he has a book that he published in 2010 called Crack Capitalism, and I can put that in the chat if people are interested as well. So that actually ends it for me already. But again, just such a huge honor to be collaborating with Intertwine and Positive Exposure. And please come to the show. So Donna already mentioned the dates, but I'll just repeat them. It's January 23 to March 22. Over to you, Liz.
Thank you so much. Very excited. I'm just even more excited now. I'm seeing all this. It was really wonderful to see all of this. So I'm going to give you just a brief background of Positive Exposure, aside from the fact that it is a gallery, but really more than that, it is a nonprofit organization that promotes a more equitable and compassionate world for individuals and communities at risk of stigma and exclusion through photography, film, community storytelling, education, advocacy, and the arts. Positive Exposure challenges perceptions and celebrates the richness of human diversity. It was founded almost 30 years ago by Rick Wadati, who's the founder. He's not here today. So, but he is was an award-winning fashion photographer who was like working all over with different models from around the world, etc. And anyway, he goes on this basic journey. Because he realized, he was always told who was beautiful and who the model of the moment was, and he saw beauty everywhere. And it's a wonderful story that which you can actually go to our website positiveexposure.org. You can learn more about. But really, it began really as a visionary art project, this nonprofit, and it has evolved into a global movement and a nonprofit organization. We have been working and partnering with hospitals, medical schools, advocacy groups, and cultural institutions, galleries, museums, artists, with a particular focus on individuals living with genetic, physical, intellectual, and developmental disabilities. We have many things. We do a lot of lectures and presentations and workshops, photo shoots. Rick is actually at an advocacy organization right now doing photos. We have films that are basically, we created films, which are almost 50 films right now, which are meant to, in collaboration with individuals and families, primarily impacted by disability, but other kinds of topics. And these films respond to the needed voice by the community to train healthcare professionals to see the first, not just the diagnosis. So much of our films, again, are utilized by healthcare providers in training, as well as healthcare providers. We're really trying to change always the notion it's never what you treat, but who you treat. So we work really closely sort of with that, and that really is very much a part of what positive exposure is, but we go beyond. I mean, again, we work with K through 12 schools, colleges, medical schools, and beyond, advocacy groups, and so forth. And using really, again, the arts as really the crux of it all. Again, I welcome you to, and I encourage you to please go to our website to really learn more about it, because we do so many different things and really have partners around the world. We are located in New York City, but we really are an international organization. So getting to the gallery. So in 2019, so all this time we've always had maybe pop-up or we have exhibitions around the world, but we never had our own kind of space. So in 2019, we opened our first permanent gallery in East Harlem on Museum Mile. And it was really meant and is meant to create a hub for visual performing, multisensory, and literary arts for communities at risk of stigma and exclusion. And then this past January, where we were very fortunate, we've partnered with the AHRC on many, many different initiatives, and they had a space that we were able to, that became now our home. So we are now in a beautiful space on Maiden Lane down in the financial district, right across from the Fed. It's 14,000 square feet. And it's really just significantly already expanded the capacity for multimedia exhibitions, performances, art residencies, internships, you name it, exactly what we're doing here. And we're so, so delighted to be able to have this wonderful space. In fact, it's New York Textile Month. And so we actually have 3 exhibitions, but I'll talk about 2 of them right now, which are, we have something, I'm going to just do my little notes here. One of them is a young artist. Her name is Sydney Keller, and she has something called How Do You Wear? She's a mixed media textile installation that explores how clothing bears the marks of the disabled life. And it's a beautiful, beautiful exhibition. She's a designer and explores the relationship between materials and disabled bodies, revealing wear as a form of visual storytelling. So again, just another way to really, and she's an incredible artist. We also have another artist, Sugandha Gupta, who's actually a professor also at Parsons. And actually even today from 5 to 7, if you have time, she is giving a accessible tour of her artwork. Sensoryscapes is a multisensory textile exhibit that engages audience through the senses and accessible by design. Sugandha Gupta was born with albinism and is visually impaired. And so she creates sensory textiles, a collection of textiles and wearables that encourages audience to engage through all the different senses, through touch and smell and sight and so forth. And so it's just to really kind of give you a sense of what we do. And we're just delighted to have this space where we can really provide a platform for artists, disabled artists, artists in, marginalized and those that really just have an opportunity to really raise their voice and provide that platform and have these workshops and have these things. I'm just so delighted about what we're going to have in January through March at Positive Exposure. There's already a loom right there already, and I just love seeing it. And this is just an incredible opportunity, and we're thrilled to be able to host this. So thank you.
Thank you, Liz. So next we are going to bring up one of the participating artists in the exhibit, Donna.
Okay, so Donna, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Donna Hedges. I am totally blind. I haven't always been totally blind. I lost my sight when I was 50, but art has been my passion for the longest. When I lost my vision, I didn't think I could do art anymore because I used to do anything that was with my hands. I did with any kind of tools or whatever. So when I lost my sight, I didn't think there was any more hope for me as far as doing it. But when we found Anna-Maie and Miss V, and they were doing the Intertwine, I fell in love with it and I found my passion again. And we all are so grateful for them, for the class.
So I have a presentation here with some pictures. So I'm going to do an image description and then Donna's going to talk a little bit about the slide. So the first slide, there is an image of the Visions group. I don't think this is the full group. I think this is just a part of the group because there's about 15 to 20 people who come every week. So this is one large table. There's multiple tables pushed together, and then in the center there is many different colored balls of yarn and weaving tools, and then all sat around the table is all the different Visions participants. And at the back there in the center is Donna, and she's working next to Buffy. And in the background, there's me and some of the volunteers are standing and floating around and helping the participants. So did you want to talk about the community?
Well, we're not a big community. We started with just like a few of us, and it built up to like maybe 20 or more people in the class. We're like one big family. We help each other out, and we just love doing stuff with our hands. We like to create stuff. We did the pocketbooks and the pillows and the stuffed animals. We all work together.
Yeah. So the next slide, there is on the left, there is an image of Donna, and she's holding a pink, purple, and white braid. She made a purse. In the center, there is an image of a purse that's still on the cardboard loom. It's about halfway done. It has white yarn that runs all the way till about halfway. And then there's a really fluffy purple yarn that comes in at halfway point. And then on the right is an image of Donna, and she's smiling, and she's on the Cricut loom, and she's weaving some lovely red fabric on the Cricut loom, which I don't remember what that ended up being.
I think that was the pocketbook we was doing.
It was another pocketbook?
Yeah, pocketbook. I love doing pocketbooks. I have so many colors in the pocketbook, so we fight to get to the Cricut. we fight for it. We love it.
Is the cricket loom your favorite loom to
Yes,
use?
and I can't get to it. Yes, I love it because it's different and it's easy to use.
Yeah.
Because they showed us how to do it, and we can do it on our own. We just have to call. We need more yarn, but we love it. We love the cricket. We all do.
We're trying to get more cricket looms for the program because, like we said, there's about 15 to 20 artists, and there's only 3 cricket looms, and everyone loves to use them.
Yes,
So,
we do.
and then the next slide, we have 3 images of some of the purses that Donna has woven.
Yes.
So on the left is a purse that is made with a kind of purple variegated yarn. It's purple and spots of pink and orange, and it has a pink and purple braided strap.
Yeah.
In the middle, there's a purse that I think was one of your first purses. It's green and it has white stripes running through it, and it has a little bit of brown and blue and pink along the bottom, and it has a green and white braided strap. And then on the right is another purse. It has pink undertones, blue, lots of blue yarn at the top, and then some stripes of pink yarn and red yarn and peach yarn at the bottom. Yeah, so purses is your favorite.
Purses is my favorite, and I walk around Visions all the time with my purses on that I make, and people, they admire them. They said, "Oh, those are so nice." Even when I go out in the streets, people are like, "Oh, those are so nice. Where'd you get them from?" And I tell them that I made it, and we are so proud that we can make things that people, say that they're nice. And when we did the auction last year, I was so thrilled that somebody brought my work. I was like so impressed. I was so impressed, and hopefully I can do it again.
Do you mostly like to keep your purses and wear them yourself, or do you gift them to people? Or?
No, I keep them all for myself. Because I use a cane, and with my canes, I have different color canes, and I try to match my canes with my pocketbook.
I love that. Yeah, so stylish.
We love the Intertwine.
Intertwine.
We love the Intertwine when they come every Wednesday. We are so happy. We love Miss V and Anna-Maie and Buffy and the whole staff. I don't think we all try to fight for one person. One of the ladies, we have a kind of like a name for them. It's AVB.
AVB.
Yeah, Anna-Maie, V for Miss V, and B for Buffy.
Yeah, because in the group they would call Anna-Maie, but really like it was kind of interchangeable. Like any one of us could do the task, so they started calling ABB, and we knew that meant that just one of us needed to come running.
Right. We love them. We love the staff so much.
Should I go to the next slide? Yeah, so we're heading into the Winnie the Pooh era.
Oh, yes.
So on the left, there's an image of the final tapestry. It's a yellow woven fabric. It's the same yellow that runs through the whole piece of fabric. In the center is a puff paint Winnie the Pooh. On the left, there is 2 ladybug buttons that have been sewn on, and on the right, there's a felt honey pot and a felt bee. So that's all on the tapestry together. And then in the image on the right is a close-up image of the woven fabric and the outline of the puff paint of the Winnie the Pooh. So do you want to talk to us a little bit about this project?
This project is, I love Winnie the Pooh, and I wanted to do something. So we all decided we was gonna do something that we like, and I decided to do a Winnie the Pooh because I have a shirt, I have a house full of Winnie the Poohs. That's my favorite.
And the puff paint is nice because when it dries like
Yes,
3D.
it's so
So
nice. It
it's,
feels, you can feel it. It feels real nice for a blind person.
yeah. And so then that leads us on to the last slide, which continues with the Winnie the Pooh theme.
Yes.
So on the left is a picture of Donna, and she's holding a Winnie the Pooh stuffed bear that she made from scratch.
Yeah.
The yellow fabric was all woven by Donna on the Sayori loom. The head was woven on paper plates to create the circular shapes. And the honey pot was woven on a cardboard loom. So the image is of a Pooh Bear, and is it a she? It's a she, right?
Winnie.
Winnie, yeah.
Winnie.
And she has pink button eyes and a yellow and black beaded necklace and a honey pot that says honey written in pink felt. And it has this fluffy yellow yarn that's spilling out the edges. So the image in the center is a close-up of the bear when it was first constructed. The yarn that was used is a really thick, fluffy yarn, so it's a little hard to sew. So we reinforced it with some yellow felt to make sure that it was sturdy. And it was all hand sewn together with the help of the volunteers and me and Buffy and ABV. And then on the right is an image of the process of making the honey pot, which you can talk on, Donna. So it's a cardboard loom that's used pins to create the shape of the honey pot, and then Donna wove 2 of those, and then they were sewn together to make a 3D. How did you find weaving the honey pot? I know it was like a little bit something different.
Yeah, it was a little bit difficult. We couldn't decide how to do it. But it was fun. I mean, we put it together, and I was like unsure where to put the honey pot. So we decided we'll put it in between her, you know, so she can hold it. But this is one of my best projects, and I love it because I love it. This is one of my best ones, and I put a lot of work into it. And I did majority of it by myself. Because they always say, you know, Donna, you need to do it. So I did it. Sewing is one of my passions. I used to work in a sewing machine before I lost my sight. So sewing is one of the things that I do. And yeah, this is my best. I walk around with Pooh and people are like, I want that. I want that. I was like, no, I have to put it in the auction because, you know.
But we're not selling it at the auction, are we? You're gonna take it back. Yeah, you love that Pooh. We cannot sell that Pooh.
I do. And there are quite a few of us in the class are doing animals. And we're gonna put Pooh in the middle and put the animals around Pooh, like a little forest thing, whatever. I mean, we done there are some people in the class that do some really great work with the weaving, and we so much appreciate the ladies.
And something that we're working on that we hope to do in the future is some of the artists have expressed a desire to use the sewing machine, and it's a little hard because it can be without vision, it can be a little dangerous for your fingers. So we've been looking into purchasing a sewing machine that is like child friendly, which basically just means it's designed for children, but it has all the right necessary like safety protections. Like there's they can come with a barrier between the needles so you can't hurt your fingers on them. So we would like to get something like that for the class because everyone is super keen to use the sewing machine, and it would be nice if we can provide a version of a sewing machine that is safe so that no one gets hurt. You would like that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I used to sew in a factory, and I did sheets and towels, pillowcases, all kinds of. And what it is they have like a guide so you won't touch the needle. But I mean, I used to see so I could do it, but it's a guide, so you won't touch the needle, and it just guides you into to how to keep the material straight. Pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, inexpensive, but but we love the work. We love every Wednesday from 3 to 5. We so much appreciate it, and we be sad when the ladies don't come. We like, it should make it longer or twice a week. We all love it. We started out with 13 people and it got like 20 something people. Everybody wants to join the class. It's a wonderful one. We beg Vision to keep them.
We have a wait list. There's
Yeah,
people waiting to be in the
good.
class. So we're trying to figure out if we can
Yeah.
do an extra class or
Yeah.
longer. So yeah.
It's fun.
Is there anything else that you wanted to say, or should we?
No, I think that's about it. Just, thank you.
All right, thank you. I do have one question before you hop off, which is just, have you exhibited your art before working with Intertwine Arts?
You mean someplace else?
Yeah.
No, Intertwine was the first thing. I mean, when I used to see, I used to do stuff in the Museum of Art, because like I said, art was always one of my things. But like I said, when I lost my sight, I didn't think I could do anything. I thought that was it for me. And then when I found Intertwine, I was like, oh my God, I was so happy. I mean, you can ask my kids. I have nothing but yarn upstairs. I'm doing pocket, but I have so many pillows on my couch. It's crazy. I have so many pillows. And people walk in the house and it was like, oh my God, that is so nice. I mean, I give stuff away, but I have never sold none of my stuff. And I am so, I love this class so much. I love it.
Well, we love having you.
Thank you.
So I'm actually going to ask all of our panelists to come onto their video so we can all chat together. So once again, we're here because we're all talking about this exhibit that is coming up. We'll repeat the dates over and over again, January 23rd to March 22nd. This is going to be a major exhibition at Positive Exposure Gallery, which is a very wonderful space that has really wonderful exhibitions. It's going to be experiential. It's going to be touchable, was a big thing for us. And so I want to sort of ask the group, like, what are you hoping to accomplish or experiment with through this exhibit?
Who do you want to go first? I can go first. I'm personally really excited about the community aspect of the exhibition. If you haven't been to Positive Exposure before, it's so fun because it's a big space, and like Liz said, there's multiple exhibitions happening at the same time. And I really love that because when you go in and you walk through and you're seeing the different artworks, you really get a sense of like the scope of the community and the diversity of the community. So I'm just really looking forward to being there and doing our weaving and talking to all the different people who come and go and sitting with the artists. And yeah, I'm just really kind of looking forward to the social aspect of it personally. Yeah, how about you, Donna? Do you have anything you're looking forward
I really
to?
like it. I mean, I love it because I love going to the museums. I love seeing different stuff. It's exciting and it's fun, to see what other people can do. And I told my friends we really need to go, because it's just, to me, it's like, going to a museum, going to an art show. It's just so exciting, so fascinating. Seeing the different people, the different stuff. I am so excited about it.
And when we told the group that the whole Visions group was really looking forward to the
Yeah,
idea of
yeah,
kind of like a
right.
field trip, like
Yeah.
taking the class outside of our usual setting and going somewhere new. Like
Yeah.
everyone was really excited about that prospect. So yeah.
Yeah, I just want to echo everything that that was just said, because like for me that was the whole idea of it as well, was to activate the space through people in the space making work together, and inviting the general public to also participate should they, choose. And so that's kind of what happened to me when I, was visiting the spaces, and Anna-Maie was teaching me how to use the loom, and I was like really enjoying just, having that hands-on experience and talking to folks in the spaces. And I was like, I want others to experience this too. And so, and then, echoing again what everyone's saying about how that the fact that there are multiple exhibitions happening at the same time, it just kind of enhances and echoes that sense of community, which I'm sure Liz can speak to as well. I do think that it would be great if maybe Donna or Anna-Maie could talk about, like, for folks who want to come along to the space, how they can do that, because I think it's like not necessarily a straightforward experience. So maybe they can speak to just like the logistics around, if I want to come and be at the loom, what do I need to do?
Yeah, so when you go, you do have to schedule an appointment with Positive Exposure. That's to make sure that people are around to provide support while you're there. Because again, it's interactive, so you need someone to sort of help you and guide you. And also, again, from an accessibility standpoint, it's just good to have people who are there to support anybody who wants to attend. Um, and then while people are there, they're going to be guided to use the looms that we have provided there. We're going to have some people who might already be on them, like who are the artists, say Donna might be there or someone else. And they could guide you. It could also be a teaching artist who guides you. It'll sort of depend on who's available and who wants to interact as well. Because that was something that we even talked about as something we want to, that might be a challenge slash something to be aware of, is some of our artists might just want to create and don't want to interact, while other artists will want to teach people who visit the exhibit. So we're going to create some sort of delineation of that as well. So you set an appointment, you show up. There are things on the wall you can look at, but there's also going to be, you're going to learn how to weave. You're going to see what weaving looks like. And again, everything's going to be touchable as well. So very tactile, very hands-on throughout the whole experience. Yeah, anything I'm missing there?
No, I think that sounds great. And of course, like, there's going to be this emphasis on accessibility. Obviously, the tactile element, people can come and touch, but I know that Positive Exposure and Intertwine are very committed to like incorporating the best access components to the exhibition as possible. So that might include like visual descriptions of objects and accessible labels, etc. And so we were just talking actually before the session started today about some excellent other artists and professors who are like really up on like the most innovative access solutions. And so we're drawing from really like incredible sources of knowledge of people who can help us design the show in a way that is like really like outstanding access components as well. But maybe Liz, like, not to put you on the spot, Liz, but you can speak more to that piece as well.
Yeah, no, sure. I mean, we're always trying to make it as accessible as possible. And also, I mean, we are a nonprofit, so it's always within I mean, that is within the financial sort of constraints, of course. I have I'm very looking forward very much, and just from the whole community, just I'll get back to the accessibility piece, but from the community piece, and we definitely have many communities that would be very interested in this, and I look forward to whether, it could be field trips, even though you say field trips, but it could be field trips from, K through 12, or it could be field trips from other programs around the city or colleges, university, disability studies, narrative medicine. I can see, so much. So I'm very, very excited about that. Yeah, no, I was just saying, and I had just spoken to a professor who teaches at Pratt, and how she specifically does a class for her students in accessibility, and they're in digital design. And so we had talked about potentially collaborating in January throughout the spring with her students. And so it just made me think, well, maybe this seems like a really interesting possibility right here. I think it would be really, really, really intriguing. And their whole thought is really to make it as accessible as possible, really thinking outside of the box. And so beyond, just the typical standardized things that when one thinks of access, what are other things that maybe, that really haven't even thought about yet. So, really exciting, and providing opportunities also. I mean, one of the things that we have about positive exposure, it really does now, it really provides an opportunity and space to really have these conversations, which is, I think, really, really imperative, especially in today's world. And so, yeah, I mean, even today, just having this conversation before we got on Zoom, it just was like, aha moment, like this is, yeah. So it's just gonna keep spinning, so to speak, and see where it goes. So yeah, thanks.
We have been talking about hopefully having some kind of virtual component too, where if you're not in the city, you can, or if you can't access the gallery yourself, you could be zoomed in to the gallery to watch and to chat and to be engaged from home. So that is something that we are working on, hopefully providing as well in the space. So yeah, so it will be accessible to anyone, any location across the world.
And sort of jumping off of all of those thoughts, we have talked a lot about field trips. Visions will be one of the groups, but there will also be, we also partner with AHRC, NYC, HeartShare, and many other places that we want to bring the people from our programs into the space. Positive Exposure also has a lot of connections and has talked about they will help sort of advertise. And again, you mentioned school groups, and maybe some of the District 75 schools can come. So that we're really inviting disability community in to see a major exhibition, to see themselves in a really professional space. And but also we want to, part of having this webinar is we want everybody to come, period. I think something that's important to talk about and why we wanted a major exhibition is that disability is sort of a hot arts thing right now. There are a decent number of disability-based exhibitions that have been happening in New York, which is super exciting. But I also think it's exciting to have an exhibit that isn't specifically like we're exploring disability. This is by people who are disabled, but it's fiber art and it's whatever people want to create, and you can create too. Because sometimes there can be a little bit of like a tokenism to the art world. And I think this is a great, just like multimodal, multi-topic, multi-theme exhibit that can really appeal to so many people. And so we really want everybody to see it and be involved and join. Yeah, so that was just like a thought that I had. Um, uh, and then I just was gonna peek at what else I was gonna talk about. Yeah, and I mean, that was something I also wanted to throw out there while I'm here too, because it is New York Textile Month, is that I think it's important to put out that many exhibitions should incorporate more disabled artists. And so try to think about how you can reach out to where those communities are, because there are plenty of people making art. We're helping the communities make that art, but there are many other organizations and groups that are also making art and helping disabled people have the tools they need to do that. And then that art should be seen. It should be seen everywhere in multiple types of exhibitions. So, uplift, hold your hands out to the wider community as well. And this is a place to meet those artists as well, by going to the exhibition. So yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but especially now in this political climate, it's good to stand up for what you believe in. So.
Mm-hmm. And that is a little bit of a factor with us, is that we did get a grant for this exhibition, which is still funding it. But because of the political situation, we had to sort of downsize a little bit of what our dreams were, but we're still making it happen. So again, also very important to support these art spaces, arts moments, especially in this time. So yeah. Have a few more minutes before I turn it to the Q&A, though if anybody wants to start throwing questions into the chat, feel free to do so. Sometimes it takes a second to get the fingers moving. But I also want to talk about just anything that we think might be a challenge for us as we go into this? We've mentioned a few already, but is there anything that we're sort of nervous about or we want to sort of just let people know about in terms of like this monumental effort that we're putting in to make this happen?
I guess, I mean, for me, I mean, I think that we still are, I mean, it sounds like, I feel like this is just kind of still, we have this wonderful thing that's happening, but we also talked about performances. I definitely can see a lot of other kinds of, this sparking other kinds of even activities within and around your space. And, you know, it just, and I would, and we're definitely going to be open to having, you know, events that are open to the public as well. So it's not just, I mean, it is by appointment only for those kinds of things during certain days, but there's going to be an opening. I'm assuming there's going to be some, as you had mentioned, performance or workshops or things that were where it's more celebratory in that regard that we could really, you know, really bring in the community. And so, you know, I look forward to sort of working on all of you with that as well. So, yeah.
I just had a thought. I guess for Intertwine Arts, we are so used to bringing our programming to the community. That's what we do. We are a mobile organization, so to speak. We take our teaching artists and our materials and supplies, and we come to Visions, and we come to the hospital, and we come to AHRC and the Heart Show and all the places. So this is the first time we're really asking our community to come to us, and that comes with its own issues we've run into before of just access, like getting the accessoride to turn up on time and getting the accessoride to turn up at all. And you know, physically, like how can we best support our artists to get there physically? So that's something that we will be really working on, and before and during the exhibition is like supporting that access needs, and that is something that's pretty new to us, but yeah, it's like it's exciting, and yeah, hopefully we can do more of this kind of thing in the future once we've discovered how to get accessoride to turn up on time.
I have a daughter who actually uses paratransit up in White Plains. It is a little bit more reliable than and paratransit, but I mean than accessoride, which is wonderful, but it's the city, and so it is difficult to get around. But that is definitely something, is the accessibility piece and the timing of the day and so forth. Those are definitely things that one needs to take into consideration. Many a time I've gotten a call from my daughter who's where the accessoride just doesn't show up. So yeah.
Yeah.
And I was also going to add to that. Another thing is just that disability is such a broad umbrella, and so many of the organizations we work with have different disabilities. Visions is people with visual disabilities. We have people with cognitive disabilities, people with physical disabilities, trying to be like, this is the most accessible exhibit that ever existed and will hit, you know, everybody will be accommodated, you know, isn't exactly the case, but we do want to do our best to do that. And also, and the thing that we've learned at Intertwine Arts too is that it's not a, oh, someone has this disability, here's the fix for that. Someone has this, that's the way you deal with that. It's all about being adaptive. And so as we do the exhibit, we're always going to be learning and adapting. And anytime somebody says, I have this going on with me, here's what support I need, or someone says, I have this going on with me, help me, and they don't always know what they need, or you know what they can ask for, and so we just have to be adaptable in the moment, every moment.
Yeah.
All right, it is 2:45, which is the time for a Q&A. So if anybody has any questions, you can pose it to particular people about the exhibit broadly or anything at all. Please feel free to throw it in the chat. But also, if there's any other thoughts that we want to throw out there while we're waiting, just want to give space for that.
I just want to say one thing.
Mhm.
Would you guys get everything together as a disabled person, which we all disabled people have a problem? Could you please take consideration of accessoride? Because we love to go to these places, but accessoride, it just, you know, they come, they don't come. It's really hard. So when you guys get it together, can y'all please take that in consideration?
Mhm. Absolutely. One of the very unfortunate things, though we're still going to take a look at it, is that when we had the full grant for this exhibit, we had everything in there, including vans to rent. And then when our grant got cut, we had to reevaluate what we can and can't do. And we're still evaluating that because we didn't expect it. We're hoping maybe we can fit it into the budget, but we have to just reevaluate because of that. But we did originally plan for it,
Mhm.
but political situations change things. So I'm it wasn't in mind and it's still in mind and we're still going to work on it. But
Yeah, that's one of the problems that we have in the building, you know.
Mm.
We're not just in the building, just disabled people in general, that we want to go to these places, but we cannot rely on accessory. I went someplace yesterday. I was supposed to be there at 5 o'clock. Accessory didn't come until 5:30. And I'm like, you know, what do you want to do when it costs too much for Uber? So it's like, you know, that's the thing. Most people don't take in consideration accessory. They're like, that's not our problem.
mhm.
So just something to put out there.
I think we maybe can find the budget to help with a van, at least for Visions, because a lot of the other programs that we work with, they already have their own program van. So we can easily coordinate with them to like provide the van for those artists. So because Visions is the only, I'm trying to think, probably the only one that would require us to book a van, like that might be something that we can try and make happen, which would be really good and would just take that whole stress out of the transport for all of you guys. And it would be such a nice thing if we can all take a party bus over there together, and it would be great.
Yeah.
It'd be
Hopefully,
fun if it was actually a party bus.
yeah, that would be fun.
I mean, even if, you know, we had to contribute, we wouldn't mind doing that neither. But, you know, we did, because we want to go to these things. It's just, everybody's like, oh no, accessory this and accessory. Like the thing that you guys are having October 9th is like, oh, well, what we gonna do about accessory and this and that? Like, so that's why we all not going, but some of us are going. But we're going with other people, so it won't be so bad if we have to take the bus back, because it's not that far.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So we do have a question in the chat. How often do you plan to have the exhibition open? How many days a week or hours per day?
Mhm.
Um, so we plan to have it pretty readily staffed throughout. I don't think it's gonna be every single day because that would be a lot. And it depends on when Positive Exposure is also open and available because they also have their own trips and events going on as well. Um, Remind me of what your general hours are at Positive Exposure.
So our general hours, usually it's like 10 to 6, 9 to 5 really. And then, we'll have it for special events and so forth, we'll open it up for like from 5 to 7 or 6 to 8 on a weekday, and then on weekends. We're not typically open on weekends. And so that's why if someone wanted to come on a weekend, or if we were going to have an event on a weekend, which we do, we would plan that. But I think what we do need to do is carefully kind of go through our calendars sooner rather than later to really kind of already begin to section things out and really kind of think about the logistics so that we can have that ready to go for people to sort of see, and we'll have those conversations. But yeah, I mean, positive exposure is very flexible in many ways. But typically it's 10, I would say 10 to 6 Monday through Friday, and then by appointment if we weren't having an event on the weekends. And so forth. And also during the week, if we're not having an event, we do ask for an appointment to be scheduled because we do have other things going on in there and so forth. But I think those logistics we still are in the midst of kind of putting together. But that's a really important question.
Yeah. And we'll probably be there. I was thinking roughly 5 days a week. Maybe one of those weekdays would be an off day, and then we would do one weekend day.
Mhm.
And you would likely see me or Anna-Maie and maybe a teaching artist
Okay,
on
perfect.
those
Yeah.
days.
So once we're off of this, we can really now kind of jump forth and really go into sort of really planning those days and so forth. But usually in February it will be, that's part of the reason why it really worked during those months too. It will be a good time to have it, and you really have access to that space to really in pretty much the way you works best for you. So that works well.
Yeah. And like Donna said earlier, it's important for us to be staffing the event the whole time, because that was something that we learned from Sugandha Gupta, who did a training session with us. She talked a lot about, as a person who is visually impaired, arriving at a museum and feeling like a bit lost, and like there's not enough people around to like support her, and feeling a bit like, okay, I don't know like what to do or where to go. So for us, that was something really valuable that we took from that training session with her, is that it's really important for us to be available and to be a support for anyone who comes into the space. So yeah, that's why it's by appointment, so that we can ensure that that happens when you visit.
Yeah, so thank you for that question. Any more questions? All right, while we're waiting, I'll pose one more question and then we can maybe even close a little bit early. Though I will have some shameless plugs at the end. So what will be different about this exhibit compared to other exhibits you've been to? We're all arts people, so we've been to lots of art spaces. So what makes this different?
Well, I can start. So a fun component of this exhibition is the idea of the kind of performative part of it, where you can make while the exhibition is happening. So being on the looms and making the fabric, and then the idea is that the fabric will then, once it's done on the loom, it will be transported from the loom onto the wall. So it's kind of, I like this idea because it's kind of like an exhibition that grows and develops as the time goes on. Like if you come on the first day of the exhibition and the last day, they're going to be two completely different exhibitions, which is really exciting to me. And I like the idea of it being kind of like a living thing that like grows and breathes as the time goes on. Yeah.
What Anna-Maie is saying there is really kind of mirrors like this whole idea of access. Like Donna was describing it perfectly earlier, like this idea of how we have to adapt and evolve and change all the time when we're thinking about issues of access. Like it's something that where we have to be super flexible and amenable to different needs. And then like that to me is like the very concept of the show. Like the show is going to be growing and adapting and changing and looking different every single day. And so I love that, like kind of like how the philosophy of access and the practice of access is literally being reflected in the way that the exhibition is changing every day. Sorry, that's just like the philosopher in me. I can't help it to say these things.
No, I think that's great. And I mean, for me, being someone in art spaces, I get a little tired of the things in glass or things on the wall that you can't get close to. And so what I really like about this is how hands-on it is, to the point of even just removing that wall between art object and person. It's all together, which I really, really like.
Yeah. And we all know, I think that, tactility in the art museum still remains, in my mind, a very understudied and under-theorized area. Like we know the benefits of touch, and like here I am sitting here, like, like with my beautiful puppy, like staring deeply into her eyes, and like just like touching her is very like cathartic, right? And so we know that the benefits of touch are really important. And so why can't we experience that when we go to the art museum? And and also it's not just about like, having some kind of like sensorial experience that we know is beneficial for us, but it's also about what knowledge can be gained from touching a work rather than just looking at it. So much like we really need to have more like multisensorial engagement with work to understand it better and to know to learn more from it. So new knowledges can be gained from that, and I think that's what also this exhibition is offering. And maybe, who knows, maybe it could be a template for other curators and other museums and other exhibitions moving forward. As I can't remember who said it now, maybe it was Anna-Maie, but somebody said, oh, maybe Donna, like, that disability is having its moment right now in New York and in the United States. Like, people are wanting to like do more of this, so we can, intertwine and positive exposure can be leaders in this area and show others like, here is a excellent example of how you can approach that. I just see somebody has written something in the chat.
Yes. So Sandra said, this was fantastic. So great to learn about everyone on this call in your orgs. Looking forward to supporting both any way I can. I am a weaver, fashion exec with a disability. My daughter has autism. My grandmother was blind. So this is all resonating with me. Thank you again. So thank you, Sandra, for sharing all of that and for jumping onto the webinar. Oh, and we got a question under that. How is that growing interest helping you amplify your missions? And a smiley face.
Anna-Maie, I feel like that's a question maybe more geared towards Anna-Maie and Liz. It's like your missions of your organizations. I think it's like the growing interest in disability art. How is that helping to amplify your missions?
In terms of what we do, I think, in essence, it really is sort of, it's really coming full circle again. What started off this organization was a photograph using photography, and really how it's come full circle now to really be able to utilize all the various arts, talking about accessibility as well within that art, and just these conversations. And so it amplifies our mission because we are really doing kind of what we set out to do. So it's very exciting, and yeah, it keeps changing. And I feel like there's a real buzz right now. And in the patent, like in the spring, just to come into fall and all of this stuff going on, it's just, yeah, it's great. It's wonderful. So thank you.
Yeah. And I can speak quickly on behalf of Intertwine Arts that our programming is spreading and growing, and we like can't really it's just an issue of funding. Like, we have so many people that are interested in the program and would like to bring it into their organization, but we've reached our capacity funding wise. So it's great that there's so much interest out there, and I hope that the knock-on effect of that will be that more funding will become available over time. That's the hope. So, because we would love to just be in as many places as possible and spreading the good fiber fund. So yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's a really good time to be in this field. So yeah. And Textile is having a moment too with all the textile exhibitions. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of part of this exhibition too, is that disability is having its moment and textiles are having their moment in art spaces. So it kind of makes sense to put them together as well. And with that, we are at the end of our time. I am going to throw up some information and do a teensy bit of shameless plugging. So thank you, New York Textile Month, for having this be part of your month. We at Intertwine Arts offer all of our workshops and resources for free to our community members. So if you enjoyed this and are interested, you can go to our website at intertwinearts.org. We also have a major event coming up on October 9th called Woven Together, where you can see a lot of this artwork in a slightly more traditional way. So we highly encourage people check that out. And then we, of course, want to thank our other panelists, Donna, Amanda and Liz. You can go see Positive Exposure at positiveexposure.org. They have a lot of amazing exhibits going on. Suganda's is currently up, which is amazing. And Amanda has a book out that you should check out, and she's an amazing curator. So we have lots of amazing people involved in this exhibit. We hope you'll check it out. Again, it will be in January 23rd to March 22nd, and you can follow any one of us or all of us to see it come to be. So thank you very much for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you in a future art space.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you very much.